Welcome to Family Drama Stories from Reddit. Real family drama. Told from the heart. Let's begin. After we announced my pregnancy, my sister-in-law's plan to humiliate me at my husband's party failed, resulting in her arrest and divorce. Harry and I, 29F, have been married for 7 years, except for his relationship with his sister, Kayla, who brings all of the negativity into our lives. I love everything about our marriage. Don't get me wrong. When I first met Kayla, I adored her, but as time passed, my perspective shifted dramatically. She is venomous, manipulative, and extremely negative. Knowing the type of person she is, I have worked hard over the years to get on her good side. My husband dated Syl's closest friend when he was 17, but they broke up after he felt pressured to be with her because of Syl. His sister suggested he and another friend of hers get together when he reached 23 and realized he was unmarried. But he refused. She went crying to their parents about how she wanted him to marry someone she felt comfortable with. But his parents barely listened to her throughout their long battle. While my husband and I were meeting and falling in love, his parents were quite supportive. But Syl always treated me coldly. She would always bring up Harry's ex-partners for no apparent reason whenever I was present, telling him of how well they were doing and proposing how he could contact them. This lasted for some time. Harry found this unusual and asked her to stop bringing up his ex-partners. I was not the only one who noticed this. Then Syl would become upset and begin insulting me, claiming I was jealous and Harry should not be with someone like me. Syl would purposefully invite one of Harry's ex-partners whenever his parents called us for dinner, claiming she had accidentally come across them that day and had to gently ask them. She does not follow me, yet she is constantly checking my Instagram. Since I have a public account, I've noticed she's usually the first to see my stories. If a male commented on my photograph, she would go to her brother and complain about how I was posting inappropriate images of myself. Harry and I would chuckle at her assertions. She encouraged Harry to break up with me after we decided to live together, telling him I had many flaws as a woman and that she could find someone far better than him. This comment hurt me deeply because I had always been nice with her. Unfortunately, Syl's behavior of me worsened once Harry and I were engaged. Everyone began celebrating Harry and me as we announced our engagement, but I noticed Kayla was silent. Then, surprising everyone, she jumped up from her chair and left our gathering. Later, she called Harry, sobbing and ranting about how she didn't want to share the news with everyone else, since she believed she was the closest to him and deserved to be the first to know about his engagement. Later, she messaged me, almost threateningly, telling me how I should treat her brother because she had always been the sole female in his life. I almost shuddered at the weird message. I left her message on the scene, which I'm sure irritated her even more, and she didn't even bother to react. Every time Syl saw me, she gradually ignored me. She remained active in all wedding preparations for whatever reason, such as when I went dress shopping and held my bridal shower, though both my future mother-in-law and fiancé called her out on it multiple times. Her criticism of the wedding took a new turn when she freely stated her dissatisfaction with my decisions. Her acts persisted. One day, Kayla overheard me discussing the centerpiece with my future mother-in-law. She started making fun of me immediately once, saying that my decision lacked class and that this was why she wanted her brother to marry someone better. For me, that was the breaking point, and I lost control. I told her that she was no longer invited to our wedding and yelled at her that I couldn't take her constant teasing and criticism anymore. Kayla was furious. Even though my mother-in-law supported me, she was shocked and gasping in amazement, as if she had never expected me to confront her. Later, Kayla phoned Harry, complaining about how I embarrassed her and insisting that he control me because I would be his wife. Harry reiterated forcefully that he supported my decision and that she would not be invited to the wedding if she did not atone. She reluctantly texted me a sincere apology. I spotted it and, once again, left it on read. I was already exhausted from preparing for my wedding, and I didn't want anything to do with her drama. She did eventually attend our wedding because I didn't want her to condemn us later. Everyone, even the guests, appeared to have no problem with the pink tones and pastels I chose for my wedding. But Sil arrived dressed as if she were attending a funeral, in a black floor-length gown with a veil. To put it frankly, we were stunned. Sael visited everyone to express her anguish at losing her brother to another woman. My spouse confronted Sael about her dissatisfaction with her wedding gown at the reception. She tried to play the victim, claiming that she had the right to wear whatever she wanted and that I was too domineering. When her incessant scene-making continued, my mother-in-law and father-in-law finally told her to leave. It embarrassed me. Since that day, I've avoided her. When I gave birth to my son, Nate, I forbid Sael from coming into contact with him. She tried to fight it, but my husband's parents supported me. They backed my decision and understood why I wanted Sael away from my kid. Sael had a miscarriage with her then-boyfriend Jaime 2 years ago, and it completely devastated her. For everyone, that was a dismal time, given our already childbearing position. Harry and I felt sorry for her. We elected to be more lenient after her miscarriage. She could connect with our son Nate, so we invited her to our home. Despite her behavior with me, she has been really nice to our son, which is incredibly surprising. She appeared to have changed at first, but after time, she returned to her former self. She frequently complains about how difficult her life is, how things never seem to go her way, and blames ex-friends or managers for upsetting her. I've discovered over time that she is never wrong in her ideas. She is constantly striving to gain people's sympathy by playing the victim card, and she rarely admits errors in confrontations. She decided to marry this year and invited everyone to help save us. Harry was startled to find that we had not been invited, given how much our relationship had developed. When we questioned her about it, she began to explain that she would not allow me to attend because I would disrupt her wedding, having never done anything to her. I called and asked her why she would think such a thing. Kayla began to explain how she had purposefully dressed in all black for our wedding and was now concerned that I might do the same, which is why she wanted me offshore. I told my spouse about how manipulative she was and was outraged by it. After consulting with his parents, Harry decided to inform Sil that they would neither be attending the wedding nor would they be paying for it. This moved Sil to tears, and she began to blame me for causing the situation. Her husband informed her she had no right to point fingers at me because she had readily admitted her error. Kayla, on the other hand, rationalized her actions by telling me to forget about it because our wedding was so long ago. Later, she phoned me to apologize and ask for forgiveness, as F, I, L, and M, I, L had yet to pay for her wedding. I hate to admit it, but Kayla can be pretty charming and convincing when she wants something. I just wanted to move forward from the past and forgive her. Her wedding to Jaime was wonderful. Everyone showed up and had a good time. Kayla knocked at our door less than 6 months later, moaning about her failed marriage. For a few days, Harry and I let her stay with us, where she spent countless hours complaining about her husband. They seemed to be trying to conceive, and Kayla was clearly blaming Jaime for everything. When I went to meet with Kayla, she argued that it was solely her husband's responsibility. When she wasn't complaining about her spouse, she would become obsessed with our lives and try to manufacture things that didn't exist. For example, every morning before heading to work, I go to the gym. When I'm running late, I periodically grab my work clothes so that I can finish my workout, take a bath, and change into my professional attire. Ciel observed this for a while and had numerous questions, such why I was showering or why I needed to go to the gym. I didn't think much about it and would tell her how much I enjoyed maintaining my weight and how much I disliked going to work sweating. She nodded and licked her lips. Mill was telling us about a friend of hers who was getting divorced right around lunchtime. She left her friend's spouse and took half of his assets after discovering his adultery with her. Seal quickly stopped her and asked my husband if he and I had signed a prenuptial agreement before we married. We stopped and stared at her. We stopped eating. She looked at my husband expectantly, as if I hadn't yet arrived. My husband told her bluntly that he does not mince words because he and I both make decent money and saw no need for a prenup. CL sneered and began to remark that he could be caught off guard at any time, and that cheating is rampant today. Her words offended me, so I asked her to clarify what she meant. CL then began to say that I was obviously meeting someone because I was always carrying a change of clothes, and that it was her responsibility as Harry's sister to warn her brother. These were surprising words to me. Phil and arrived straight away to stop her from fabricating such things and tell her not to mess with other people's affairs. Without taking a beat, Ciel proceeded to underline how she was only trying to be there for her brother and began to joke about if our son Nate was Harry's son because he didn't look like him. I swear I saw the look of rage on my husband's face. In my life, I had never seen him so enraged. Looking Kayla in the eyes, he told her that she was not a mother yet because she did not deserve to be, and that her child would be better off in heaven than with someone like her. Kayla's mouth hung in astonished amazement. M.I.L. and Phil merely watched calmly as my husband abandoned Kayla, ranting about her being a shameless person, attempting to ruin everything because her life had nothing to offer. She was just a loser, he told her, doing nothing all day while her husband worked nonstop. He kept telling her that since she was clearly projecting, she should focus on her own marriage rather than pointing fingers at me and inquiring about prenups. Kayla broke down in tears and began to howl. She looked to Jaime, who was sitting next to her, for consolation, but he never said anything. My husband has never had this kind of mental breakdown. She eventually got out of her chair and hurried into the toilet. My husband was boiling over. I stroked his hand, and M.I.L. came to calm him down, recognizing how unpleasant she could be. I nodded as he apologized for what his sister had said about our son. I had took enough from Kayla over the years, so I was relieved when my husband publicly stood up for me. He apologized to Jaime but completely ignored Kayla once he calmed down. That day, after lunch, we had no interaction with Kayla. Her actions affected not only me, but also my husband. We simply restricted her from everything so she could contact us. After lunch, I.L. and Phi.L. spoke with us and concluded that Kayla had gone too far this time. They could see how their normally peaceful boy had become agitated as Kayla continued impressing him. We last chatted with her a year ago, and everything is functioning smoothly. 2 months ago, I learned what I was expecting, given our lack of effort. This was pretty surprising. My spouse and I feel blessed to be welcoming another family member. We opted to let everyone know on my husband's birthday because we were waiting for the right opportunity. M.I.L. and Phil were planning a big party on their lawn in honor of Harry. We invited our closest friends and relatives. S.I.L. decided to reveal her face after hearing about it from others. When we saw her, my husband and I were stunned. S.I.L. hugged Harry and apologized for their last conversation, telling him how much she missed him. Taking my hand, my spouse advised his sister to apologize to me for pointing fingers at my character. I.L. nodded, looked at me, and apologized. She told me that she had been in therapy for a few months and had realized how inappropriate it was for her to treat me that way, despite the fact that I disagreed with everything she said. I nodded in front of everyone to show my respect, since this was a gathering for my husband. M.I.L. and Phil checked in on us and informed us that if we felt uncomfortable, they would kick her out because they had no idea she was coming. However, Harry insisted on not making a scene, so we decided to let this go. It seemed strange because S.I.L. was laughing and socializing with everyone at the celebration. She mentioned seeing a therapist, so I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. even though she appeared overly optimistic, which is not her nature. When it came time to cut the cake, Harry spoke movingly about how he felt like the luckiest man on the planet, grateful for another year with a lady like me. His comments made me flush with delight, as we were when we first started dating all those years ago. I couldn't help but appreciate the fact that my husband and I were still madly in love. Then Harry and I decided to inform everyone about some fantastic news. We smiled and announced that we were having a baby, and everyone took a moment to consider before yelling in delight. My mother rushed up to hug me and began crying. As Phil saluted Harry and me, tears streamed down his cheeks. Everyone wanted to know if we had chosen baby names and was obviously happy for us. S-I-L was out. She appeared stunned. Her mood changed, and she simply turned away from us, appearing irritated. So I assumed she was processing information slowly, though I was concerned that she would ruin another party for us. I was distracted by other people approaching to talk. I got up to help my in-laws carry lunch, but Rick and my parents begged me to stay seated, telling me I shouldn't move at this point. Elle approached me, beaming, as I waited calmly for my husband to bring me a meal. She handed me a dish after enthusiastically stating that she wanted to personally offer me dinner because she was so excited about my pregnancy. She even said, as she passed me the plate, that she wanted to make amends for all the times she had been mean to me in the past. I nodded and politely agreed. She then turned to leave. I was about to start digging when I discovered she had put shrimp on my dish. I know I'm allergic to shrimp, so I was surprised Elle brought me this. Disappointed. I shook my head and stood up to get my own lunch. Jaime approached me at that point to wish me well with my pregnancy. Following a brief conversation, he inquired as to why I had not eaten. Jaime reassured me not to worry and took the dish from my hands after I pointed out that Elle had probably served me shrimp by mistake. He agreed to try this dish because he liked shrimp. I could buy a new plate for myself. I nodded, grinned, and turned away. Jaime began puking and retch on this dish 5 minutes later. Not even 5. Everyone stopped eating in concern as they watched him stagger out of his seat. Concerned, Harry and Kayla dashed towards him. Jaime gestured at his plate and then at his throat. Our eyes widened in amazement as we realized that what he had eaten clearly indicated that something was wrong with him. Jaime passed out, and everyone gasped in surprise and concern. Kayla rushed over to examine his dish, and her eyes widened. She turned to look at me and asked if I had given her husband my plate. I nodded. During the chaos, someone called for an ambulance, and he was whisked away to a hospital. Kayla was sobbing nonstop and staring angrily at me the entire time. Jaime had been poisoned. We learned later, knowing that the plate was originally mine. I almost passed out when I heard this. Jaime may have poisoned both my baby and me. This is something Harry, and my parents do not know about, because no one knew what was in the food he ate that caused him to faint in this manner. The police were contacted to collect evidence. Jaime is still recovering in the hospital as I type this. Kayla remained with him overnight. My husband and I have been taking calls from relatives who want to know what happened to Jaime and who poisoned him. What has transpired shakes M-I-L and F-E-L. They are sleeping over at our house since they are terrified to return back to their house. Nobody knows what happened suddenly when everything was going so well. Telling everyone that the plate once belonged to me and how Kayla came and offered it to me makes me really nervous. Should this evolve into an inquiry? I will have to tell the cops the truth, though most importantly, I am now rather concerned about what my S-I-L could do to me. I feel quite awful about what has transpired. I don't want to be around her, nor can I bring my kids anywhere close to her, as she obviously has no restraints about trying to poison me. I feel bad about handing Jaime my meal and maybe contaminating my bill. Update 1. Whoa! Thanks for the thousands of comments on this post in just a few hours. I never would have guessed I could have received these many answers. I typed this earlier and had shaking hands. I haven't been able to sleep. Though what everyone says, I do feel somewhat accountable for the event involving my bill. I should have simply tossed the dish away. I'm not sure why I let him grab it from me. I keep crying about his future. Knowing something is a lie. My hubby has been hovering close to me, though he doesn't know what I know about his sister. He believes I'm only worried. I agree with the remarks saying I should get down and gently chat to everyone. Although I'm not sure if everyone will believe me. I, L, and F, I, L do have security cameras put all around the house, given that this birthday celebration took place in their garden. I am confident they could check and confirm via their cameras that Kayla brought me the plate. I'll chat with everyone tonight, then update. Update 2. We then chatted, and I am really glad to have the nicest in-laws on planet Earth. M, I, L, and F, I, L are already staying over with us. So I sat down with Harry and them over dinner to let them know I had something vital to communicate. I began by inhaling deeply, the weight of the circumstances drooping on my shoulders. Everyone gathered around. I narrated the birthday party's events, including how Sil had brought me a platter of prawns and Jaime had mistakenly devoured it, causing his sickness. Their shock and incredulity reflected my own as I spoke. M, I, L, and F, I exchanged anxious glances. Harry's expression shifted from uncertainty to wrath. I went on to emphasize my worries about S, I, L, as motives and previous attempts to harm me, faced with the potential consequences for myself and our unborn child. I hesitated to share this material. M, I, L, being the sensible woman she is, advised immediately to look at the security camera footage, given the gravity of the situation. I, L, nodded in approval, though visibly offended. Harry remained silent to ponder the surprising revelation. After reviewing the surveillance footage from their camera app, the truth was clear. The video shows S, I, L, presenting me with the poison plate and then explaining what caused Jaime's agony. The weight of the data left no room for ambiguity. As the information sank in, emotions ran high, now fully aware of his sister's nefarious plans. Harry struggled to restrain his rage. M, I, L, and F, I, L were frightened by their daughter's activities, and they were also astounded by how far she had gone to make trouble. We sat stunned in silence, trying to figure out why she would act in this manner. Given the gravity of the situation, my in-laws have decided to report this information to the police. Jaime is the one who needs to file charges against S, I, L. So F, I, L, and my husband will be visiting and meeting him once he heals. I want to cry every time I think about how I let Jaime consume my poisoned dish. I don't know how Jaime will respond. I can't sleep or eat well because I'm so worried about him. I will notify you of anything noteworthy. Update 3. Okay, guys, I'm back with an update at last. Although it has been a month since my last post, I am currently pregnant and experiencing a lot. First and foremost, she was imprisoned upon seeing the proof. My in-laws gave the recording to the police. Kayla immediately confirmed everything and did not fight the charges. She began crying. Jaime was as surprised as the rest of us when my husband asked him about what had happened. Tell him that he will always be a member of our family, no matter what he decides. My husband persuaded him to file charges against his sister because it was such a nasty thing to do. Jaime chose not just to press charges after his recovery, but also to seek divorce. Kayla called Mill and Phil, distraught and pleading for their forgiveness. Kayla is, in fact, pregnant. She tried to persuade them that they should do this for the sake of their grandchild and begged them to bail her out. Phil forcefully advised her. However, that she should finally learn to accept responsibility for her actions and that they had stopped coddling her. Mill is depressed about what is happening to her kid, but she understands that her mistakes cannot be simply forgiven. The cops discovered evidence that she had tampered with the meal, intending to harm me, but it backfired and injured her husband. She has been charged with a number of charges, including endangering lives, causing property damage, and tampering with food, so jeopardizing its integrity. Kayla had been pleading with Jaime not to charge her, claiming that it was entirely my responsibility. Fortunately, Jaime is determined to punish her. Her court hearing will begin shortly. I doubt she can escape this time. In the meantime, for everyone who is wondering, my son and I are okay. He had no idea what his aunt did. We want our son to understand and avoid similar situations. So Harry and I have discussed it and aim to sit down with him and tell him the reality. Having a difficult but vitally necessary conversation with a young child will be difficult but needed. My doctor also instructed me to have ultrasounds every 2 weeks during my pregnancy. We want the child to be a surprise, so we don't plan to find out her gender. Knowing what Kayla has gone through, my parents have been somewhat protective of me. They are pressing me to seek treatment since they are afraid that this may jeopardize my psychological well-being during the pregnancy. I agree with them since, while behaving normally, I have a deep-seated fear of what Kayla did to my meals and dread eating any outside food or anything I have not prepared myself. Hopefully, my husband will help me overcome this stupid phobia because he is aware of it and supports me throughout. Update 4. I last checked 8 months ago. Kayla is currently in prison. She pleaded guilty to the allegations, though I never attended her court appearances. My in-laws would periodically tell me how Kayla came clean to the court, admitting to years of jealousy towards me. She had always hoped that one of her best friends would marry my husband, so when he began dating me, she would constantly torment me since she never wanted an outsider to marry her brother. She felt envious when we told my husband's birthday party we were pregnant because she was also about to declare her pregnancy. She wanted to share her fantastic news because she had miscarried before, but she thought we took away her moment to shine. She grew upset and, due to her pregnant hormones, mixed a small amount of rat poison into my supper. She said she wanted me to end up in the hospital, but she never intended to physically harm the baby or myself. She said she deserved a lesser punishment because she never anticipated me to hand her husband my plate, and I practically poisoned her marriage. Of course, the judge responded to her pleas. She was imprisoned and will be out of our lives for quite some time. Jaime is also now free, as she has effectively divorced him. We have seen him over the months and continue to include him in our family activities whenever possible. He told me that it was never my fault when we spoke, and I profusely apologized for handing him my plate when I realized I had been reliving it in my head, wishing I could have done things differently to prevent him from being poisoned. I burst into tears. Jaime is doing well right now, which makes me glad. Harry and I now have a newborn daughter. Our daughter's presence has warmed and illuminated our lives, despite the fact that the shadows of the past remain. Being a big brother makes our son Nate extremely happy, and he has been loving and caring for his little sister. Seeing our children interact makes us appreciate things. My parents and in-laws have been there for us throughout, guiding us through this new chapter of our lives. Sometimes, the people closest to you aren't just messy, they're dangerous. And the hardest part isn't the betrayal. It's accepting that love alone won't fix them. What Kayla did changed me. I don't just double-check my meals now. I double-check my trust. But through all the chaos, something beautiful happened. My husband stood tall. My in-laws chose truth over blood. And Jaime found freedom. And me, I held my daughter in my arms and realized that even after poison, heartbreak, and fear, love can still grow. Here's what I've learned. Boundaries don't make you cruel. They keep you safe. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. And family. It's not about who shares your last name. It's about who protects your peace. If this story moved you or made your jaw drop, please like the video. It helps more than you know. Subscribe if you want more real-life stories that speak to the strength it takes to survive betrayal and still choose love. And drop a comment. Have you ever had to cut off a toxic family member? Your voice matters here. Thanks for spending time with us today. Take care of yourself, protect your peace, and we'll see you again soon.